Today's episode on the Star Trek critic, the game, which is also known as the Federation, almost crumbles because Riker is a little slut and only thinks about where he can stick his willy for cheap sex. He loses the first point because he should know you never tell hookers what your rank is or where you work. That's why you always say your name is John. Not that I know that by experience or anything. And now he forgot to use protection over his eyes and caught a virus. The first point is lost for a single set of doors on the turbolift. The Enterprise is deep in the Phoenix cluster. It looks like Riker came with new scientists from the Zhukov. The 5-week mission has been cut down to 2 weeks, and Data mentions a new trip to Oceanus IV right after. Will they make it? Picard says Wesley is coming by shuttle. Why would any Starfleet cadet go back to his mom during vacation? He should be partying the whole time. Another point lost for opening credits 6 minutes into the show. Geordi mentions 15 science teams. They are probably from all over, so it is perfect timing for the Katarians. They can get the game out 15 times faster.
This is the second time we see Robin Leffler, and unfortunately the last.
Riker says, "What is our sensor status?" Leffler says, "You are looking at me like a creepy old man, and there is no way in hell we are going to hook up. I am only here to see Wesley's birthmark." Riker wants to show Geordi something he got on Risa. Geordi says it better not be anything as bad as the narrator using an AI-generated voice. In 10 Forward, Deanna is having a disgusting relation with chocolate. I don't think her comments can be said on a family show. This is the ship Wesley hopped to get to the Enterprise. For being out in the middle of nowhere, there is a lot of space traffic. Wesley says, "Hey, Chief O'Brien, check out my new cadet uniform. I bet you are going to wear something like this on Deep Space Nine." Then he asks, "How's Molly?" O'Brien says she is the spitting image of her dad. O'Brien says he should go to his mom's quarters. What if he actually went there? That would have ruined their lame surprise party, so -1 point for bad scripting. And -1 point for having a surprise party in a room right off the bridge. It should have been his mom's quarters. Picard says, "Look, we can trash talk your mom in Latin right in front of her, and she won't even know." Worf makes Wesley a cellular peptide cake with mint frosting. Riker wants Wesley to work on his vacation, forgetting that there are 15 science teams on the ship. This is why you don't go back to your old job on vacation. What kind of game does she want to play? In today's woke Hollywood, it would be some wild girl-on-girl action. Wesley and Data share college nightmares, since both of them are awkward around other people. And how does a sonic shower work? There is no way sound waves could be reprogrammed to produce mud. And why bother with a sonic shower when the Academy is right next to an ocean full of free water? Both agree that the sole purpose of the Sadie Hawkins dance is to make wallflowers uncomfortable. Data offers to hook Wesley up with holographic dance partners like the little pimp daddy that he is. The only reason Wesley goes to work on vacation is to meet Leffler, so -1 plot device point. Robin tells him to calibrate by hand. That's disgusting. Wesley says, "I love you." Robin says, "I know." She says his neutrinos are drifting. Wesley thinks that's code for his zipper is down. Then Leffler checks Wesley out while she leaves. How much time has passed? Geordi was in engineering in the last scene. Data says the teams are arguing about array time. Geordi says have them flip a coin. Data says he wanted them to fight for it. Dr. Crusher clearly calls for Data over the PA for everyone to hear. This is before the game has corrupted the entire crew, so -1 point in knocking Data out in sickbay. There could still be crewmen around who see this. Wesley gets to drink tea with the captain now, so he thinks he's a big kid. In reality, the rest of the crew thinks tea parties are boring, so never join him. Wesley says he talked to Boothby, and all he talked about was how badly he wanted to go back to Mars. Nobody connected the dots on hearing Dr. Crusher calling Data to sickbay just a few minutes before. Geordi performs Picard maneuver number 1. He still hasn't been corrupted by the game. He wants to check in on Data, but Riker has the best distraction. Wesley realizes Ensign Leffler only joined the Enterprise crew to ride the elevator. Robin makes up laws to live by. Wesley says, "You know what? This whole episode is just an advertisement for Deep Space Nine. I have the new uniform. Your laws are like the rules of acquisition." Chief O'Brien talked about Molly, and instead of the ship flying to trouble, we are in deep space and the trouble comes to us. Leffler says, "Who cares? I want to see your birthmark, and they said you were good." Wesley says, "You've been out of the Academy for 2 years now. Why do you still know students there?" There is no way of knowing in this captain's log how much time has passed. Wesley catches his mom playing the game. He says, "Ew, Mom, that's almost as bad as having sex with a ghost." Beverly says, "Wesley, I have a great idea. How about I become the annoying mother-in-law?" Shout out to Leffler's dressmaker. It makes a little heart on her neck. Leffler complains about constantly moving as a Starfleet brat, then joined Starfleet to complain about constantly moving as a Starfleet officer. She only picks at her food, since prop food tastes terrible. Wesley says, "Look, my drink matches your dress." Then says the only reason his mom got him on the bridge was so he couldn't go to the end of ship orgies in the Arboretum during firefights. Robin says they only have the orgies when Riker is on the bridge since he is a walking, talking social disease. Wesley says, "You've been to those orgies." Robin says, "Of course, there is nothing else to do if you think the ship is going to explode." Wesley then says, "Well, that answered my next question then." Then a fly lands on Wesley's plate. They leave 10% forward to check on Data. Of course, everyone thinks they're just going to do the nasty. In the lab, they discover the game is addictive and affects the pleasure center of the brain. Robin says, "Why is that second bar so much longer?" Wesley says, "That shows the effect you have on me." Leffler says, "Wesley, you have terrible pickup lines, but it worked. We should see if playing the game has the same pleasurable results as having sex." Wesley says, "I have to talk to the captain." Robin says, "No, come back. You totally missed what I said." But Wesley leaves, not realizing what he just missed out on. It must be 9 o'clock at night by now. I would take a point for Picard being in his office so late, but he's affected by the game, and Wesley is too busy slapping himself for realizing what he just missed out on to notice. Wesley says, "Captain Picard, I played this game and had some visions. Tasha's daughter is going to try to kill Ambassador Spock. Data's going to meet Guinan and Mark Twain. You are going to quit Starfleet and join some illegal treasure hunters. The new captain won't let Deanna wear catsuits, and I'm going to have a brother created by my mom and your Borg sperm." Picard says, "Wesley, you always panic and think weird things when a girl invites you to her quarters. I keep telling you, just go for it." Even corrupted by the game, an extra still crosses when a door opens. Leffler and Wesley should have found a better place to meet. The next point is lost. Since Data is on the same table, they should have moved him to a private bed. Another point is lost due to the timeline error. Wesley would know how to contact Data through one of his ports right now, and Leffler could have stood guard, but you don't see that. 1 point lost for the reflection of a boom mic. Another point lost, since the Katerian ship is also a Zalconian and Tyrellian plague ship. Sometimes the prop department is just cheap. Wesley and Robin would have never gone back to Beverly's quarters to put on an act, so -1 point. Is this the same night? Robin is still in her pink dress and now has the night shift in engineering. LaForge is on the bridge, so he won't notice. Wesley does not follow the teachings of Yoda. One thing they don't mention are the 15 science teams from other ships that could also distribute the device. Nurse Ogawa is on level 47, the Star Trek reference to their favorite president. She is so far gone she just rides in the turbolift all day. Wesley got in on level 11 and off on deck 36 and she is still there. Now Leffler is gone, and the chase begins. Worf and Riker were on the bridge just a second ago, so -1 point. This round hallway wouldn't be on deck 36, -1 point. Look closely. That is just a projection of Wesley for a really cool special effect. That's why they stop, so they won't hit the screen. They say he is on deck 6, but that door says deck 7, so -1 point. And how did Wesley get a phaser? 1 point lost for a poor matte painting of the tunnel. Poor Wesley got caught. I would take a point for them dragging him all the way up to the bridge, but they are under the influence of the game. Data saves the day. It might be impossible to program the bridge to have the strobe flash, so I can't take a point. The Katerians took a big risk, since a strobe light was all they needed to break the spell, and now they are going to Starfleet jail. According to the stardate, less than a day and a half has passed, which is not enough time for all the events to happen, so 1 point is lost. The Merrimack is a Confederate ship. So, who has higher standards? William Riker got a cheap hooker on a pleasure planet, and due to his ignorance brought an invasive game that almost took out Starfleet. Wesley got Ashley Judd. Does this scene takes place in Wesley's quarters? Since he is still packing, and implies she spent the night, but she stays when he leaves. People may ask why she didn't go to the transporter. The producers probably decided against it since that's where Wesley said goodbye to Selah. Catherine Moffat was on the A-Team, TJ Hooker, and we will see her again on Deep Space Nine. Ashley Judd has 60 screen credits including Sisters, Dolphin Tale, and Insurgent. Sadly, she never came back to Star Trek. The game, where Wesley makes a guest appearance, saves the ship, and gets the girl, receives a score of 83, which is pretty good. Either there were very few errors on this show, or the narrator was too distracted getting googly-eyed over Ashley Judd. Thank you for viewing. Please leave comments below, click the like button, the share button, and the subscribe button, and tune in next week for Unification.